twilight in the industrial outskirts always carries the heavy scent of dust and rusted iron. As the sun slowly sinks below the horizon, staining the clouds in shades of bruised purple and dried blood, the boundary between the living world and the nightmare realm grows thin like a razor's edge. Here, on this abandoned platform where the trains no longer stop, time seems to have frozen in an eternal, suffocating wait for something inevitable. The low-frequency hum of high-voltage wires overhead merges with the rhythmic, ominous chirping of cicadas, creating a thick backdrop of sound that only amplifies the ringing silence. You find yourself walking alone, and every footstep echoes sharply against the cracked concrete walls, slowly transforming into the sound of a stranger's rhythmic breathing right behind your shoulder. The single red eye of the rusted signal light blinks intermittently in the gathering gloom, acting as a warning in a forgotten language. Leave this place while you still have the chance. In the 1990s, this district became famous for those who vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but hollow shadows etched onto the railway ties. They say that on these very tracks, a presence still lingers, the one who failed to cross them before the iron reached her. She knows no mercy, she possesses no name, and she remains endlessly hungry for the terror of those who wander too close. If, in the heart of this silence, you suddenly catch the sharp, unmistakable screech of metal dragging against asphalt, do not even think about turning around. She has already marked you as her next target. You stop in your tracks, your breath catching in your throat. There, at the very edge of the flickering fluorescent glow, stands a solitary figure. At first glance, she looks like an ordinary student, leaning casually over the rusted railing as if mesmerized by the empty, dark tracks below. Her long, ink-black hair falls forward, completely obscuring her face, while her school blazer remains unnaturally still, undisturbed by the freezing gusts of wind that howl through the station. But as you take a hesitant step closer, the air around you grows heavy and thick with the suffocating scent of ozone and wet copper. A sickening realization begins to take hold of your mind. She is not standing at all. She is propped up on her elbows, her upper torso suspended in the air with a rigid, impossible strength that defies every law of nature. The natural silence of the night is shattered by a rhythmic, wet scraping sound, a slow dragging of weight against the cold, grimy concrete. Slowly, she begins to turn her body toward you. The movement is jerky and mechanical, like a broken porcelain doll being forced into motion by invisible, rusted wires. When she finally faces you, the scream dies in your lungs. Below her waist, there is nothing but jagged, raw edges and a dark, infinite void that seems to swallow the dim light. She drops from the railing to the pavement with a heavy metallic thud that vibrates through the soles of your shoes. Her fingers, tipped with broken nails and stained with dark oil, dig deep into the asphalt. Teke, teke, teke. The sound of bone and metal dragging across the floor fills your ears in a frantic, hunting rhythm. The encounter has ended, and your nightmare has only just begun. Every urban nightmare has a beginning, a fleeting moment where the thread of a human life is violently torn by a cold and unyielding force. Long before the rust and the silence claimed this station, there was a girl caught in the suffocating, humid air of the rainy season. In the mid-1990s, she was just another face in the endless morning crowd. her world defined by the rhythmic hum of the daily commute and the distant whistle of the coming trains. She was a ghost in the making, even before the steel touched her. The memory of that day is a chaotic blur of screeching brakes and the deafening, bone-shaking roar of a heavy locomotive. Whether it was a cruel, momentary lapse in judgment or a deliberate push from the shadows of the platform, she found herself falling. The safety of the concrete vanished, replaced by the freezing, indifferent touch of the iron rails below. The last thing her eyes mirrored was the massive, dark face of the oncoming engine, a mountain of metal that knew no mercy and possessed no soul to plead with. The impact was not an end, but a terrifying transformation. As the heavy wheels ground against the tracks, they did more than just sever her body. They cut through the very fabric of her spirit. In the agony of those final seconds, her terror curdled into a dark, pulsating hatred that soaked into the gravel like black ink on a cursed scroll. She did not leave this world. She was merely broken in two and left behind. Now she is bound forever to the scent of ozone and the cold vibration of the tracks. She moves like a monstrous mechanical insect, her upper torso swinging with a sickening and unnatural agility. Her fingers, tipped with jagged, broken nails, dig deep into the hard asphalt, leaving deep furrows in the cold ground as she closes the distance between you. There is no grace in her movement, only a raw, frantic desperation to reclaim the life that was stolen from her. Every wet thud of her elbows against the pavement echoes like a countdown to your own inevitable end, a sound that promises no escape and no mercy. The steep concrete stairs offer no sanctuary from her hunger. Ona climbs them with a terrifying spider-like speed, her shadow stretching long and distorted under the flickering orange glow of the street lights. In her grip, she holds a jagged shard of rusted steel, a makeshift blade forged from the very wreckage that claimed her human form. The hunt is reaching its terrifying climax, and the air is thick with the suffocating scent of ozone and old forgotten blood. You are cornered in the darkness, and there is nowhere left for you to hide. The frantic scraping eventually fades away into the distance, replaced once more by the indifferent, low-frequency hum of the high-voltage wires. On the cold, empty platform, only a single school bag remains, its contents scattered across the cracked concrete like discarded and forgotten memories. The red eye of the signal light continues to blink rhythmically, serving as a silent witness to a tragedy that the world above has already chosen to ignore. There is no struggle left in the air, only a hollow, ringing silence where a living soul used to be just moments before. She does not find rest in the shadows, for her hatred is as unyielding and cold as the iron that broke her body. As the first pale light of dawn touches the horizon, she retreats into the damp, lightless voids beneath the railway tracks, waiting for the sun to set once more. The legend of the girl on the rails is not a mere story created to frighten the curious or the naive. It is a living and breathing stain on the city, a cycle of vengeance that feeds on the very fear it creates in the hearts of the living. Tonight, the station remains quiet, but the air still carries the faint, metallic scent of wet copper and ancient rust. If you find yourself walking alone near the tracks and hear a soft, rhythmic clicking approaching from the deep darkness, do not stop to wonder about its source. Run, and whatever you do, never look back toward the sound, Because once you have heard the unmistakable rhythm of her hands against the pavement, she will never stop her pursuit until you have become a permanent and silent part of her story.